Hey, welcome back to Crimes and Closets. This is Beth in my closet in North Carolina.
And this is Christy in my closet in St. Louis, although...
For now.
Yeah, for now.
We're leaving today for the Tennessee.
Yes.
The day of recording.
Like in hours. Hours.
Literally. And I'm not packed, which is just like me.
I've been packed since yesterday at 2 p.m. or something like that, 3 p.m. And I don't even leave till 3 p.m. today. I could have waited.
Well, I did all the laundry, which is saying a lot. And I did a lot, actually, for my family. I cleaned my house. I did laundry. I went to the grocery store. I meal prepped a couple things. Wow. Boss.
Yeah.
And I'm not packed. And I'm stressed a little bit about it. So...
Well, if you're anything like me, yesterday I was just like, let me look through my stuff. Oh, this is great. And I just threw a bunch of stuff in the thing. I didn't actually outfit plan except for one day.
That gives me anxiety. Well, now I need, what's the one day? You have to tell me later.
Well, I just got a dress to wear. I just have a dress. One day I'm wearing a dress.
Okay.
And
all day?
Yes. No, just for dinner.
Okay. Got it. I'm here now. You guys don't care about this. We're going to CrimeCon. If you don't know what we're talking about, we're literally going to CrimeCon today. So when you hear this, it will be over and that will be sad. But we're so excited. We are so stupid excited. It's exciting. If I were going by myself, I would be so excited. But the fact that I'm going with you and I get to see you in hours from now is bananas fun.
I know. So stoked. So stoked.
I know. I even told her, I was like, when you check, because she gets there before me. And I was like, when you check in, just get all the stuff so I don't have to check in. So I can just run and find you at whatever hotel spot in the, And she's like, 100%. Text me. I'll have stuff waiting for you. Get fries. Yes. No.
Get fries.
I'm so excited. So you guys, I hope that you followed the journey with us.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Because we will hopefully have documented it very well. Hopefully.
Yeah, I talk a big game. Christy will tell you, I'm like, I'm going to send so many pictures and post all these pictures and take all these pictures. It never happens. I don't know where my phone is half the time, or it dies, or something irresponsible like that. So I'm going to do better this time. We'll see. I'll do better. I wanted to tell you one thing before we get to this case. What I will be doing on the plane. I've been listening to a book. Oh. I got a book on the Audible. I've been listening to Prince Harry's book.
How is that?
Listen, when I pulled it up and saw that he is the narrator, I literally squealed with joy.
Oh, you love listening to that.
Oh my gosh. It's literally him in his British accent reading his book. So great. The book is interesting. I will say. He's pretty raw. And I like that. He doesn't sugarcoat stuff. He doesn't try to defend himself for the stupid things that he did or his family did. Do you know? Okay, so it's called Spare.
Spare?
Spare. Because this floored me. I don't know why, but it did. So in their family, any royal family, apparently, it's very common for them to want an heir and a spare. That's what they call them. So Prince William is the heir.
Right.
And they had Prince Harry as a spare. And what that means is not only if something happens to Prince William, they have another person who can step in. But if something happens to Prince William and he needs a kidney.
Oh, he has to
bone marrow. Yeah, he's the spare. They call it spare because they literally can use him for spare parts for the King of England. And I was like, that is very disturbing.
That's literally the only reason he was conceived?
Yeah.
Was to be the spare?
Yes. Yes. And his parents told him that. And he said, they talk about it openly. And there's no animosity. There's no oh, poor you. It's just facts. It's just the way that it is in his family. And that his dad even said to Princess Diana, well, you've done your job. You gave me an heir. You gave me a spare. You did your job. And then that was it for her.
Wow.
I know. I was like, that is so sad and disturbing. But like the way he says it is so raw and like, anyway, there's a lot of stuff in there that I was like, holy moly.
Right.
Holy moly, Prince Harry. But that was the
Wow.
first thing that I was like, oh, I'm going to like this book.
How interesting.
It is. It's very interesting. So that's what I have 11 hours left of it. I think I've listened to like 1.5. So I have 11 hours. So that's what I'm going to be listening to while traveling to Nashville. I don't know if I'll finish it before we get back because that's a lot, but
Well,
we'll
I probably could while I'm at the airport waiting for my flight on Sunday after you leave.
Guys, we were just talking about this. I leave at like 6. She leaves at like 11.
Meet me, people. Oh wait, you guys, this will be done by the time you hear this stuff.
True.
Anyways.
All right. Well, if we're done talking about all of that, I have a case for you for this Monday. Okay, here we go. Okay, this case is a listener's suggestion from our friend Ashley R.
Oh, okay.
Ashley sent this one over on YouTube.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Which is always nice. We have a YouTube. In case you guys didn't know, you can go check us out over there. So this is a smaller case, but it's actually crazy case. And I'm really surprised that I have never heard of it. I don't know if you've ever heard of it or not. We are going to Aiken, South Carolina.
Okay.
Aiken is in the western part of the state on the Georgia border.
Okay.
It has a population of just over 32,000, and it is known as horse country. So they train a lot of horses for the Kentucky Derby.
Okay.
This is the case of Jessica Carpenter. Jessica Lynn Carpenter was born on July 9th, 1983 in Waukegan, Illinois. She was the youngest of 3 girls to parents Charlie and Judy Carpenter. At some point during the girls' childhood, Jessica's family moved to the rural town of Aiken, South Carolina. Jessica is described as being hardworking and friendly. She was very close with her parents because she was the baby.
Mm.
She loved people and she loved children and wanted to become a pediatrician. She also modeled and participated in pageants. She was very pretty. She had a very pretty smile. She played basketball with her church and loved shopping and listening to music.
Okay.
At the time of our case in the year 2000, Jessica was 17 years old and was about to start her senior year at Aiken High School. Jessica played first chair baritone saxophone in the school band, and she worked as a hostess at the local Red Lobster.
Haven't heard Red Lobster in a while.
Those cheddar biscuits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are really good. I always see those, like, don't they have them in like Sam's or Costco? They have
they have like a mix that you can make.
Mm-hmm.
I've made homemade ones before. I should find that recipe, actually. They're pretty good. She also babysat on occasion for neighborhood kids.
Okay.
So Jessica's dad traveled for his job and her mom worked outside of the home, but I don't know exactly what they did. And her sisters were grown and out of the house, like at college and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So on her days off in the summer, Jessica was home alone.
Okay.
So that was the case on Friday, August 4th of 2000. And Jessica, like I said, was getting ready to start her senior year of high school. So she was just like chilling out, enjoying the last bit of her summer. That morning, Jessica was babysitting 2 brothers that lived in her neighborhood. So she picked them up from basketball camp and she played with them until their mom came home. Then Jessica went home. Her mom came home on her lunch break that day, and Jessica was making herself some mac and cheese.
Mm-hmm.
So her mom sat down with her and the 2 of them had lunch together.
Oh, how lovely.
Probably Kraft macaroni and cheese, if I had to guess.
Yes.
Around 12:30, her mom left and went back to work, leaving Jessica home alone for the rest of the afternoon. Jessica's mom got off work around 5 o'clock and ran a few quick errands on her way home, and she arrived home just after 5:30 p.m. She went to the front door to open it, and as she approached the front door, she could hear Jessica's cell phone ringing inside. But she didn't hear Jessica, like, going to answer it, which was very strange because Jessica's a teenage girl in the summer. You're going to answer your phone. So she unlocked the door and started to go inside. However, as soon as she opened the door, she saw Jessica laying on the floor of the living room, just inside the door. So Jessica was totally nude and not moving. And at first, her mom thought that she was playing some kind of a joke. Like, she was like, girl, what are you doing? Get up, get your clothes on. What's going on? Right?
I don't even know if that would be a joke to me, to be totally nude.
I don't know that she thought it was a joke. I think that she was just like, what are you doing? Like, get up. She didn't automatically think foul play, is I think the point. But she quickly realized that Jessica was not responding to her. And then she realized she was not breathing, and she saw blood. So Jessica's mom called 911, and you can listen to the 911 call, and it is so frantic and like sad. It's like one of those ones where you like go through the process with her of like, at first she's like super confused, and then she's like, oh my gosh, she's dead. And then she like, you know what I'm saying? It's like so sad to listen to. Unfortunately, when paramedics arrived, they realized that Jessica had been gone for several hours at that point, and she was pronounced dead at the scene. Jessica's autopsy showed that she had been sexually assaulted, and there was semen present on her body that they were able to collect. Jessica had been strangled manually, so by hand. And then 2 phone cords from the home had been wrapped around her neck, which ultimately was her cause of death. So the killer had cut the phone cord from the kitchen phone and one from the living room phone and used both of those to strangle Jessica. Her throat had also been cut, but there was very little blood, which indicated that she had already been dead.
Oh, man.
When that cut was made. Pretty quickly, police realized that there was no forced entry to the home. So whoever had done this had been let in by Jessica. Nothing had been taken from the home, so it was clear that robbery had not been a motive. Police did notice, and the family, that a knife was missing from the family's kitchen. So a drawer in the kitchen where they kept the knives was actually open. And there had been a knife that was missing from that drawer, and it was not found in the home or at the scene. So it was taken with them. Other than the semen that was present, there was no other evidence left in the home. So there's no fingerprints, shoe prints, nothing like that. The DNA was entered into the system. However, it did not match anyone.
Oh.
Right. Immediately, police began looking into any male that Jessica may have known or come in contact with and started ruling people out. Because they had a full DNA profile, they asked for anyone, literally anyone, to come down to the station and submit their DNA. So it was actually said that there were lines of like parents who just brought their kids in to the station and like lined up outside the station to submit their DNA to like help with the investigation, and to like willingly they were doing this.
I was just going to ask, like, they're asking for people to do that, but how many, like, if you were the perpetrator, wouldn't you be like, I'm not going?
Well, but then you were side-eyed. Like, why not? So it would really kind of put a target on you, I think. But anyway, it didn't happen. So no one in the area heard or saw anything, like neighbors, nobody reported seeing anything. They looked into Jessica's friends, her classmates, neighbors, coworkers from Red Lobster, the mailman, the gas meter man, literally everyone in town was asked to cooperate, and most of them were willing to give their DNA. So over 300 people were interviewed, and over 100 DNA samples were submitted and compared.
Wow.
One investigator said that if you were a male in Aiken during that summer, you were a suspect.
Yeah, I bet. No kidding.
So the town was terrified, thinking that they had a brutal killer like walking around among them, and everyone, especially Jessica's parents, were skeptical of anyone they came in contact with. So like the person at the gas station that was like selling them their candy bar, suspect, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
However, they were never able to find a match to the DNA.
Gosh.
4 days after the murder, Jessica was laid to rest and the town came out like in droves to support her and the family. Several months after Jessica was murdered, a serial killer was arrested just over the border in Georgia. So this man, I'd never heard of this man. His name was Ronaldo Rivera. Have you ever heard of him?
Like Geraldo Rivera?
Oh my gosh, it is like that. I didn't even think of that.
Oh my gosh.
Weird. That's really unlucky for old Geraldo.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay, well, Ronaldo had been caught after raping and murdering 4 young girls, similar to Jessica's age and appearance. So his MO was to rape, and she met his victim profile. When they finally caught this guy, he was actually in a hotel room, and he was attempting suicide.
Oh, gosh.
But they got there before he died. He had left a note confessing to the murder of 4 girls, but specifically said that he did not murder Jessica.
Like, okay, I've done these, but I did not do that one.
Yeah, she is not one of my victims.
Okay.
And unfortunately, he was telling the truth because his DNA was not a match.
Oh, man.
He was a real POS, though.
Well, and I do feel like he would admit it because a lot of those serial killers like want like the credit. And yeah, so I feel like when he said
and
I
he
didn't
did
do
admit the others.
Right, yeah.
Okay, in the fall of 2001, over a year after Jessica's murder, a man who was in prison for another murder of a young woman confessed to raping and killing Jessica. So he claimed that he saw Jessica at Red Lobster and followed her home and murdered her when he knew she was alone. So police look into this man because that makes a lot of sense. He's a very viable suspect. But again, his DNA did not match.
Oh, geez.
So he was just lying. After this lead, Jessica's case sadly went cold and everyone was heartbroken. So they literally found this 17-year-old girl raped and murdered in her home.
Yeah.
With no forced entry. And have DNA and have no idea what happened to her.
So I'm like this is mind-boggling to me. Like, how else could this person have, like, even if they rang the doorbell saying they were the FedEx guy and then just like push the door open? Oh,
it's an interesting theory, Miss Christie.
You know, because like you could like force your way in without showing that there was forced entry. You know, like if she had already opened the door and you could just push the way in.
Right.
You know. Anyway. Okay.
No, don't open the door, I guess.
Yeah.
Jessica's family and the town did everything they could to keep Jessica's face and her case in the public's mind. They held memorial services, and Jessica's mom would put articles in the local newspaper in her memory every year. Just to like keep her like relevant, I guess. But years went by with no new leads or tips that led to anyone. Until August 19th of 2002, just over 2 years from Jessica's murder. The lead investigator in Aiken, the one that was like on Jessica's case, got a phone call. They had a DNA match. A man in Georgia had been arrested on a probation violation. So the law in Georgia at that time had just been amended to say that people convicted of certain offenses had to submit to mandatory DNA sampling upon arrest.
Okay, yeah.
So before that, you didn't, and in some states, you can be arrested for crimes and you don't have to submit your DNA.
Right.
But they've we're now coming around to the fact that if you're arrested for a violent offense, your DNA needs to be put into the database.
Well, it makes sense because you could tie it to something else that is unsolved.
Like Jessica's murder.
Yeah, exactly.
So when this man was arrested, they took his DNA and put it in the database, and it matched the DNA that was found on Jessica's body. Okay, so who is this man, this Georgia man? So this was 31-year-old Robert Adkins. Robert had a history of felony burglary, escape, and some weapons charges, and he had violated his parole in Georgia and was currently incarcerated in a South Georgia prison.
Did you say felony burglary escape?
Yeah, he escaped apparently at one point.
Oh, okay.
So to their knowledge, this man had zero connection to Jessica or her family. Like even her family was like, who?
Who's that?
Who is this man? Everyone was totally confused. Aiken investigators immediately went down to interview Robert. Initially, Robert denied ever knowing or seeing Jessica or having any connection to Aiken whatsoever. However, after hours of questioning, Robert finally broke down when the investigator began talking about Jessica's family and how her mother has to live with the image of her dead daughter every time she closes her eyes.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Robert then said she's not the only one who has to live with that every day. Robert then started crying and confessed to raping and murdering Jessica. So this is how it happened.
Oh my gosh. Sorry. I'm appalled that he was like, she's not the only one that has, like, do not compare yourself to the mother who has to live with that. No.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, like we don't feel bad for you at all.
No.
Okay. Also, you're psychic. Back in 2000, Robert had been a delivery driver for a company called Airborne Express, which is still around.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
You said FedEx.
Yeah.
So he had delivered to Jessica's family's home about a week before her murder. He noticed her, and she was very nice to him, and he saw that she was home alone. So the following week, Robert was back in Jessica's neighborhood again, making deliveries. He did not have a delivery for her house, but he approached it anyway. Robert knocked on the door and told Jessica that he had delivered a package there by mistake. Jessica said that she didn't know of one and that she thought he was mistaken, but Robert asked if he could use her phone to call and see where the package may be. Like, she doesn't have this package that you think I delivered here by mistake. What do you want me to do? Jessica agreed and let Robert into the house. She even offered him a glass of water.
Oh my gosh.
She likely recognized him from the week before and thought, well, he's delivered a package to me before and everything was perfectly fine. So she was trusting enough to let him in her home. Robert went into the kitchen and pretended to use the phone. And while he was in there, he grabbed a knife from the drawer. He then held Jessica at knife point and forced her to undress. He raped her and said that she told him that he could just leave and she would never tell anyone. You'll never get in trouble. I'm not going to tell anyone that you did this to me. Just leave me alone. However, Robert said that at that point, he felt like he had to kill her because she knew who he was. He manually strangled Jessica until she lost consciousness and then went around the house cutting the phone cords from the kitchen and the living room and used both of those to strangle Jessica until she died. After the fact, he then cut her throat with the knife. Took the knife with him.
Ugh.
Now listen how crazy this is.
No, I don't want to listen to any more.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're going to have to. He left the home, locking the door behind him, continued delivering his packages, and then after work, he met his fiancée at the courthouse and obtained a marriage license. And the following day, he got married.
How do people that do these things just go on with their day like nothing happened?
That's what I'm saying. Like, he obviously premeditated this murder, this act, but he didn't bring a murder weapon with him. Like, there was a part of it, I think, that was like spur of the moment.
Right. Like, he's going to rape her, but he's not going to murder her.
Or something.
In his head initially, but then, yeah.
And you know what else is crazy? It said that he got married in the floral department of a local grocery store. Which I'm like, can you do that? Isn't that weird?
That is like, well, who'd you get to come? Like you went to the courthouse. You're like, hey, judge, come over here. I want to get married in the floral. So we're surrounded by flowers.
I know. It's like cheap.
We don't want to buy flowers, so let's just go into that.
That's what I thought too. I'm like, Robert. And his poor fiance. So this whole time he's been married and has never spoken about this ever again, about what he did to Jessica until that day.
Jeez.
So his wife is like, holy crap, you married me after you did this awful thing. And she had no idea.
Oh my gosh.
They even were able to find out that Robert had delivered a package to the police department on the day of Jessica's funeral. So, like, he is ballsy.
Oh my gosh. And I'm surprised they weren't like, hey, can we have your DNA?
Right? No, because he's a man in Aiken. I know, right? Missed opportunity. Robert then led police to where they could find the knife that he took from Jessica's home and used to cut her throat. Even after 2 years, investigators were still able to go to the spot off a highway and found the knife, which still had her blood on it, wrapped in a t-shirt, hiding under a pile of brush. Isn't that remarkable?
Whoa.
After 2 years. So Robert Adkins was arrested on August 30th of 2002 and extradited back to South Carolina to stand trial for Jessica's rape and murder. After years of back and forth court proceedings that I will not bore you with, Robert actually ended up accepting a plea deal to avoid the death penalty. So in March of 2006, Robert pleaded guilty to murder, criminal sexual conduct in the first degree burglary, kidnapping, and a firearms provision. He was given 2 life sentences without the possibility of parole to be served consecutively.
Whoa, okay.
Plus an additional 30 years.
He's not getting out.
Through the book at old Robert. He is currently 53 years old and serving his sentence at Perry Correctional Institute in Peltzer, South Carolina. Jessica's father actually sued the company Airborne Express for wrongful death for failing to conduct a proper criminal background check on Robert prior to him being hired. Because remember, he had those burglary convictions.
Right.
He escaped. However, he did lose that lawsuit because Robert was actually a contractor for Airborne Express. So technically, the company that he was contracted with was liable.
Oh.
Jessica's mom still puts a memorial article in the newspaper every year on the anniversary of Jessica's murder to keep her memory alive. And she always includes a poem, which was actually included in the obituary as well, that says, wherever a beautiful soul has been, there is a trail of beautiful memories. They also started a scholarship fund in Jessica's honor called the Jessica Carpenter Memorial Scholarship Fund.
Wow.
And that is the case of Jessica Carpenter.
Gosh, that is so sad. Like, literally. I mean, she was like, can I get you a glass of water? Of course you can use my phone.
I know. She was so sweet and trusting and naive. Unfortunately.
I know. You don't know. Nope. You don't. I'm sorry that you don't know where this package is, but I don't have it. And you can talk to your supervisor when you get back to the station.
Let me help you. Yeah. Oh, right. Exactly.
No, I'm just saying, like, that's what I would be doing now. Like, no, you're not entering my home. Right. I mean, clearly, like, hindsight and now things that we all know nowadays, plus everyone's got cell phones. That was cell phone era, but not like enough.
She had a cell phone. Jessica had a cell phone.
Right, because I'm thinking, like, I remember getting my first cell phone and it was right around 2000. But I knew they were out. So maybe it just wasn't, like, as prevalent. Like, maybe.
Yeah, I had one in the late 90s, like 98. 97, 98, I had a cell phone.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I know that they were around, but maybe it was like, wasn't completely unheard of.
Right.
For somebody to not have one. Like when I met Emery, he did not have one.
Right. Wow. You've known your husband since before he had a cell phone.
Yeah.
That is.
I did, but he didn't. So like, and that was right around that time. So like, you know, totally plausible that somebody wouldn't have one, that they'd be like, oh, can I use your home phone? But still.
Right.
Like, no. Sorry.
Right. Yeah.
I don't have your package. Don't know what to tell you. Bye.
It was a different time, you know?
I know.
And I actually thought Airborne Express, like, who is this? They're not like, okay, but if you look up a picture of Airborne Express and see their logo, you will recognize it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like black and red. And it has like lines, like horizontal lines going across underneath the Airborne Express.
Airborne.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll recognize it if you look it up. And I'm like,
ORNE?
BORNE. Yeah.
Yeah. I just didn't know if there was a U in there. Express. Oh.
See, you recognize it. I can see it's like a white van with this logo down the side. Like, so crazy that you were like, was it the FedEx guy?
Well, when you looked at me like that, I was like, oops.
I know, that's why I made a face and was like, stop.
Stop talking right now.
Stop knowing things.
No, that's like a couple weeks ago or months ago now at this point, when we had the tall, hot blonde and you mentioned, do we know that tall, hot blonde is who she says she is?
Right.
And our listener was like, man, you ruined it. I don't know if you saw that comment.
Sorry, I didn't. I don't think. No.
He said when she said that, I was like, man, she's ruining the twists and turns.
Oh my gosh, I totally missed that comment. How funny.
Yeah, it's funny. But I mean, that's just like where your head goes. That's why I think I said to you recently, like sometimes I like hold myself back from saying something because like I'm afraid I am gonna be like say something that you're gonna be like, I'm not getting to that just yet.
Right. No, it's totally fine. I mean, we are so immersed in this like world of crime that we I mean, like it does take a lot, I think, to stump us.
Yeah. Right.
You know, in a good way. It's like we watch shows.
Yeah.
We talk about this on our Patreon. If you guys like ever listen to our chit chat, we watch shows and it's like one of our favorite things to figure out the end. Before we get to it, Christy and I like do that all the time. The first thing that she'll ask me, like, you got to watch this show. It's super good. And then I'll be like, I watched it. Do you know the end? Did you guess it? It's like always what we're always like trying to get to like figure it out like just before everyone else does or something. Cause it's like, we're so immersed in like that way of thinking. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
That happens to us regularly.
Right. Well, because I mean, that was the only thing that I could think of was like, well, there was no forced entry. So they just assumed it was somebody that she knew. And she like was like, come on in. But I was like, no, there's other ways to get in without like breaking down the door.
They pretty quickly ruled out anybody that she knew because they like just took DNA from essentially everyone.
Yeah.
They were talking about too in one of the, I don't think it was a Dateline, but like one of the documentaries that I watched about her, they were talking about how this little office in Aiken, like the person who did the DNA was like, oh my gosh, stop bringing me samples. It's too many samples. Like they were like, they were getting really annoyed with us because we just like kept flooding them with like, compare this one, compare this one, compare this one, compare this one, because they just knew like it has to be somebody here. So I don't know how he got away with not giving a sample.
I know. That's all I'm thinking is like they were testing everyone, including delivery drivers, and he walked in to deliver something.
Said the mailman.
Yeah. So hey, let me just have it real quick.
Anyway, he was a real bad guy, though.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I'm glad that he was caught eventually. I mean, it took a while, but I'm glad that he was caught. And sorry, don't feel bad that that's the vision that you have because you should have to live with that vision.
Absolutely.
Her mom should not have to live with that vision.
No, Her mom's really great, by the way. She participates a lot in the documentaries that I watched. So I will link all of them if you are interested.
Always interested in watching something new. I haven't seen. And I definitely did not know that one at all.
Me either. And I was surprised because it's just so scary to think about like your random delivery guy It's like
Yeah.
the Amazon guy that stole the kid.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know?
Yeah. Oh gosh, I remember
Scary.
that. Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You forgot who suggested my last one. Who suggested this one again?
Ashley on YouTube.
Ashley.
Yeah, Ashley
right.
R.
Cool. Well, thanks
Yeah,
for
thanks,
suggesting that.
Whew.
Another one in the books.
Yep.
How many more are we going to do?
Today? No more.
No, not today, but in general. Like, have we put a limit on how many hundred episodes do we have now?
Yeah. It's a lot. It's like, it's got to be like 200 and some.
Yeah. I recently, because I always talk about how I'm right. I sit here and watch like Datelines and whatever. And it's like only become recently where I'm like, sometimes he'll literally, the kids will go to sleep, or at least the youngest. And I'll be like, what do you want to do? And he'll just look at me and be like, murder. And like, that's how, that's like our
Dateline?
routine. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I can. Like, and that's just become like recently. Like sometimes I'm like, I think I need a break. I think I need to like not do that even in my like fun time. Like this needs to be work and work only.
I know.
So
it's true. Anyway. Yeah. It's too much sometimes. It's very heavy.
Yes, it is.
And a lot of times we do a really good job of like that balancing act. But sometimes it's like, especially if we have like a particularly horrendous case or it's September.
Yeah.
We're like, forget it.
Right. Yeah. Well, thanks for doing it. Glad there's justice for Jessica, but sad that even happened in general. So come check us out as always on social media. Come over to Patreon. Our social media is probably busting right now because we just got back from CrimeCon, so you can check out what we're doing or what we did. True? Yes,
we're like literally back today.
Yeah.
Oh.
So anyways, so go check out that and see what we were up to all weekend, and then check out more episodes. And just always remember, the world is scary, people suck, hide in your closets.